Drink your pickle juice because it's time for the
Off the Bench podcast. Yes, the old Roo. We forgot to say our full name, but we'll get that sorted out as the season goes along. G'day to everybody. Welcome along to our first podcast of the year. Just hitting the ground now. And tonight I'm joined by three, of course, of our normal regulars. All these three you should know pretty well by now. How are we, boys?
Fantastic. Good to be back. Bring on the NRL.
Oh, so much excitement. Well, tonight, folks, I am the SC Beast, if you don't know. Shoot us your questions, shoot us anything you need to ask. We'd love some input. I do appreciate that being the first one. It might be a bit slow tonight, but that's whatever. Don't forget the code for the overall league. We've got some great prizes coming, including the Supercoach rings. Big plug out to them. If you've got a league running and you want to get a Supercoach ring, hit us up or go to www.championshiprings.com. That's
no IU, just .com.
Yeah. .com. It's as simple as that. Championshiprings.com. Go there. They're nicely priced, great looking rings, and our winner, of course, will be up for one of those. All right, tonight we've got Rossco. How you going there, Ross?
Yeah, g'day. Welcome back. Good to have everyone back. Good to be back. It seems like we haven't really had much of a break since the BBL, but it's good to be back and talking NRL after a very, very struggled BBL season in the end. So happy to be back talking rugby league. This is, I play a couple other formats, not as many as you play, Brad, but this is my favourite format of the lot. Like, I like my BBL and that as well, as I said, but this is the main one for me.
No, 100%. NRL is where we all cut our teeth. It was the first format of fantasy really to smack us in the face here in Australia, this and AFL. But over on going up the East Coast in New South Wales and Queensland, we're all into it. 2008 it started, and I've been here since 2008. So let's see what this year brings. Maybe I'll actually listen to some of my own advice, and we will get there. How you going there, Tim?
Yeah, doing well, boys. Isn't it good to be back? We have about 3.5 minutes of time off from the bloody BBL to the NRL. It's been great. It's the off season's been good. I've been going pretty hard with the EPL. It's been really tight EPL Supercoach over the last few weeks, and it's saving trades. Unfortunately, I lost a few spots, but I've played strategically. I've got a heap of trades left in the bank and some boosts, and sitting inside the top 500 with 15 rounds to go. So I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm in a good place. But boys, it's great to be back. NRL, just bring it on.
Bring it on. That's right. And of course, tonight we also have Dan. Dan is also with Supercoach Tragics. If you don't know who the Tragics are, look them up on Facebook. Easy to find, but Dan will tell us all about it. How you going there, Dan?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Pretty keen to watch some footy. Just been playing all the subpar versions of Supercoach pretty much until recently. Killing it in NBA at the moment, I guess, and then trying to beat the coach in the NBL and EPL, and it's been, you guys talk about a big break. We haven't had an off season at all. It's been Supercoach non-stop. So, but I'm looking forward to 8 days, till the first trial matches start. So I'm just pumped. Get the big screen going and start watching some footy.
It should be great. Now tonight, folks, we're going to hook straight into it. We're looking at hookers, talking about hooking straight into it. Looking at hookers and front row forwards. We're going to consider the hooking options first up. Now, I don't think it's any secret, and listening to all the other pods out there, by the way, to all the other pods, g'day out there. You've all been doing a wonderful job, and there's lots of content out there, folks. So I'm not going to list them all, but there's a heap of it out there, and everyone's doing a great job. Now, hookers. There seems to be clearly two premiums, and now that Marshall King is out of the way, there's a big gap down to some mid-ranges, and then there's another big gap down to the real cheap buckets. Am I reading that right there, Ross?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's certainly massive gap between Grant. You got Grant and Brayley up here. Then you got your mid-rangers, which are about down here somewhere. It's just there's nothing in between, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So there's I think those two are the main ones, and then obviously some mid-range options. There's some decent ones I feel as well, but we'll have a bit of a chat about them.
All right. Well, who's your hooker you brought to the table for us tonight?
Yeah, so my one is Blake Bailey. So priced at 654K. He's got an average of 67 with a base of 45. 80-minute hooker who really does not have to cover on he goes no cover on the bench. And then obviously, even with McInnes out injured, like even when he comes back, he doesn't touch the minutes in the hooker position. I feel he could get selected for Origin this year. I think he's proven that he's probably good enough to make Origin this year. And then the first buy is in round 7. So he's pretty much just a set and forget. I mean, if he does make Origin, there's a case that you could probably sell him around about that Origin period and bring him back. But then again, with having the best 13 now, I don't think there's really any need to be wasting trades to move him out, especially if you want him for the back end of the season. He's just a set and forget player, really. Once you start with him, you just keep him unless he's injured.
Yeah, no, his stats were very, very high last year. What do you have? A 60. I mean, they're all pretty moderately priced. 654K, a base of 45, with an average of 67. That means that there's 20 points there of creativity that he's basically putting on top of his base. That's a fair whack for a hooker, I've got to tell you. He must have been getting a lot of runs and that towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I think so too. But he obviously doesn't have a lot of the attacking stats, so he doesn't have a lot of try assists or anything like that. But he's just solid as. He really is. He'll get an attacking stat every now and then and might push his score up to 80 or 90 if you can just get, that little line break assist and try assist out of dummy half or close to the line to AFB or one of the other big bot forwards that they've got. I owned him for most of last season and he didn't let me down at all. So, he's in my team at the moment, but he could be come round 1.
All right. Okay. We do have some people tuning in already. Hello, Davey. Davey's out there. Hello, gents and Timmy. Where's your hat, Rossco?
I'll go get one just for that. While you guys talk.
They don't make him big enough for that noggin. He's it's
There's a bit of a glare coming off his forehead.
I don't make that error. I'll always wear one. Now, who had Harry Grant?
That's me, mate. That's me. I think with Harry, obviously nothing really much to say about Harry. He's just been the best hooker in the game for the last few years. I will say there's a lot of upside here when it comes to, and value as well. So the last 3 years prior to 2025, he averaged above 70. 72 was the lowest one he's averaged, and 75 the year before that, and 78 the year before that. So we're paying for a 62 average from last year. That's 10 points reduction really from the year before. He did have 8 games. He missed 8 games in 2025, so it does hamper a little bit. I think it was a few injuries and then a couple of suspensions there towards the end, which he bloody well deserved to grub. But to be honest, you're paying 606K for this bloke. He's probably worth around the 650 mark. The biggest key here that I love as well is these matchups. The first 3 rounds, he plays against Parramatta, St. George, then the Broncos, which he averages against Parramatta 80 across 10 games he's played. So it's a pretty big sample size there. 96 points against the Dragons. It's a smaller sample size, only 4 games, and 87 points against the Broncos. So if he gets those 3 scores there, he's guaranteed a price rise after the first 3 rounds there. He's 100K undervalued, if you ask me. But the only fear I have is since those last 3 years have started, if you look carefully, he's gone down at average every single year. Was last year an outlier, or is it a downward trend? So I think it's probably going to go up again, but it's a bit of a worry there.
How much of it do you think it was the depth that they had in the hooking position at the Melbourne over the last couple of years now? Some of that depth, of course, has vanished with Bronson Garlick, especially moving on, and Wishart being moved to other areas of the field. Do you think that's going to have any impact in maybe him going up?
No, actually, anything. I thought it would. The last year they had the chance to hold him back a week if he was injured and make sure he's fully better to avoid reoccurrence. So they had that opportunity last year to go, "You're all right, Tyron Wishart, you can play hooker for a month for another 2 more games because we're not really hurting." So it gives Harry Grant 2 more weeks to fully recover and come back fully strength. But he's come back and still averaging 62 points. So I'm a bit concerned that there's a bit of a liability there. But I still reckon you're not going to get any worse than a 62-point average out of him. So he's good value. He's probably the best out of the two, I think, just when it comes to value and output.
I think I'll just quickly touch on this. I think the biggest thing for him is average going down. I don't know if you guys agree on this or not. He just doesn't seem to run the ball out of dummy half as much as he usually does. I mean, he was very dangerous when he used to take that line on, just take that quick scoot out of dummy half, get that extra 10 or 20 metres and then, look for, Ryan Pappenhausen or someone on the inside to pop a ball out to. But I don't know what you guys think, but I didn't really see a lot of that last season from him. He
started doing it a bit towards the end of the season, but it was only like when the game was pretty much either they needed it to happen, like the game was really close on the line and they needed it to happen, or the game was over. It was like so. I can see he wants to do it still. I think there might be some directive from the coach potentially, which is causing him not to do that, which is a pain in the butt because that's what we want our Grant to do. So
I think the round 15 for me, round 15 is their first bye for Melbourne.
Yeah, that's true.
So, man, you could get 3 or 4 Melbourne players quite comfortably right at the beginning of the season, as long as they're not going to be losing your cash, as long as you've got some quality there. And you could be very happy just plug and play them up until Origin time and then beyond even. Round 15, that's just crazy as the first bye. Now, Timmy,
sorry, Brad, before we go on, just exactly on that point there, as a whole, what do we reckon? Do you think that helps or hinders the Storm's chances? Obviously,
wait a minute. Did you mention the draw?
Did I mention the draw? Not quite yet, but close enough. Sort of.
Did I hear someone mention the draw?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Brad, that's your best one yet, mate. Well done. I will absolutely take that.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So,
look, it's an interesting concept, isn't it? They, like we've addressed, that they don't have their bye until round 15. Does that help or hinder the Storm? I mean, you kind of think that at the start of the season, if you get a bit of a roll on, it's you can bank the points really quickly. But I don't know. Does that mean they get to Origin? And needless to say, the Storm are going to be fairly well represented as Origin as they are every other year. But I don't know. Like, do they get to mid-season and have a bit of a slump as they're starting to get a bit tired like some other teams did last year? Do the Storm just keep on keeping on like Bellamy just likes to do? What effect is it going to have on them on the second half of the season when they might play for a couple of weeks and then have a break and then have another couple of weeks and have a break? Like, does that start to mess up things a little bit by having more rest than playing?
Man, you've just asked 6 questions there, and I cannot answer one of them. There's no way I can answer any of that.
Personally, I think that Bellamy and the Melbourne Storm team they've been around for so long and they've had representative in Origin for such a long period. They would have this managed, and this whole thing workload will be managed perfectly by Bellamy. I don't think there's anything to worry about there. 100%. They'll be rested every second week and they'll come out even stronger. So I don't think it'll affect them anyway at all.
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think especially with rep players like Harry that do like to play decent minutes, is it a case of maybe he plays 60 or he might play 65 instead of 80 and things like that? I can't see him playing 80 minutes week in, week out leading up to Origin. But look, I'm sure Bellyache's got ways around it. Rest him during the week. Don't train him quite as hard on certain days and whatever.
Now, who's your hooker you were looking at?
Yeah, look, guys, I was on a Reece Robson, priced at $497,400. He's a hooker only. Obviously, he's moved down from the Cowboys, so a bit of a journey now. He has been to a couple of other clubs. So, yeah, hooker priced at a 51 break-even, average 40.9 last year. Speaking of draw, they do have an interesting draw. They start with the Wars, then go into Bunnies, Panthers, Manly. They've got a bye in round 5, and I reckon that's a little bit tricky. Then they have Sharks in round 6. So I guess the tough part is you want players at the start of the season that are going to make you money and make you money relatively quickly. Obviously, our first price rise doesn't kick in until round 4, assuming that those players play round 1, 2, and 3. That obviously differs if they don't. But look, he'll get a price rise in round 4 as long as he plays all those other games, but then has the game in round 4 and a bye in round 5. So I don't know. It's Reece Robson, I think, as far we just talked about off air, as far as moving down to the Chooks goes, I think they're going to be a much more attacking-minded team than what the Cowboys are going to be this year. We all seem to think the Cowboys are pretty much going to build their game on defense and maybe some counter-attack. But yeah, look, I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence a little bit with Reece Robson. I think he's priced appropriately, and I think he's got more chance of a bit of attack than he did, a bit more attack at the Roosters than what he did have at the Cowboys.
So I know he played 80 minutes at the Cowboys, right? But does he play 80 minutes at the Roosters with Connor Watson most likely on the bench, or does he just come on and just play like lock or middle or something like that, Connor Watson? I don't know. This is the only thing that is the unknown, if he is actually going to play 80 minutes or not. Because if he plays 80 minutes at that price, he's a decent buy. I mean, I think I actually have the Roosters to come top 4 this year. I think they've got a good side, and I think they'll be right up there, which I hate to say, but anyway. But it's just the unknown if he is going to play 80 minutes. So.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think that is the big unknown, and especially like you just brought up Connor Watson's role in the team and what that's going to look like with both of them on the field. Does one spell the other? Do they sort of share a bit of a role, or does Connor Watson come on, like you said, and play more like a 13 as an extra half or something like that? So that will be key, and I guess we want to see some trials and see the Roosters. Well,
the problem is even with trials, it doesn't give you a true indication.
And that's what I mean. It's got to be trials at full strength, and I think that's going to be our problem, the same as it was last year. A lot of players came in late, especially after a pretty long rep season as well. So because they're so stacked in the forward pack that. I just don't see where the minutes come for Connor Watson if he's not playing some minutes at hooker. I don't know. What do you think, Dan and Brad?
I think his best position is to play 60 minutes in the lock position, Connor Watson, that is.
Yeah.
I think that's the most beneficial thing you're going to get if you're a Roosters player, a Roosters coach. I reckon him at that speed and agility through the middle for the last 20 before half time, and then coming on to a bunch of tight forwards. I think that would be what I would do, but I'm not Robson. I'm not a coach. So I am also just quickly looking at the draw here when it comes to the strength of schedule when it comes to Supercoach output. The easiest draw for any hooker, the Roosters have that draw. So New Zealand is their hardest matchup when it comes to hookers, right at a rating of 7. And then you look at the South Sydney Panthers and Manly, who are rating 2, 2, and 1, which the lower the number, the higher the Supercoach output. So I hadn't looked at that one yet until just then. So I'm thinking if he does get the 80-minute role, even 60 minutes, he's definitely a good shout.
I think there's certainly plenty of upside there, and I think it's priced accordingly. Like he started last year 100K more expensive than what he's starting this year, and that sort of says a lot about it, his position and where he might venture throughout the first few weeks. But yeah, like I said before, the only thing turning me away is just that tricky buy in round 5.
Yeah. All right, Dan, Davey there agrees with you. My input into it is, look, Trent does not play 80-minute hookers. He hasn't played 80-minute hookers. But mind you, the Roosters haven't had a dedicated hooker that's just a pure dyed-in-the-wool hooker for a very long time. They've been filling gaps and, but now they've got a hooker. They've got a dead set hooker. So will his policy change? I don't know. But proof tells me that, he probably won't. Now, Timmy, I've heard just on the grapevine that you're actually considering Reid Mahoney up there, his replacement up in the Cowboys. You're actually thinking about going him over him.
Yeah, look, he's in my side at the moment. I just think the move to a new club is probably just what he needs. His place in the team last year was a bit chop and change. He wasn't getting the minutes that he wanted late in the season. He didn't get the ball and not just the game time, but I guess just the place in the side that he actually wanted last year. He's moving up to North Queensland, where Robson's come from, and anyone that's spent any time around Supercoach and looking at stats and things like that, Todd Payton up there just loves an 80-minute hooker. So look, even if he just goes up there purely as a tackle bot, he's priced at 400 odd K. I can't see him losing money. I could see him making a quick 100K in the first 5, 6, 7 rounds or something like that, and you could use him as a step up to somebody else. So as a tackle bot, he can make 60 tackles a game and just let him do his thing. He does love a dart out of dummy half when he's just short of the line, and I think that's probably something that the Cowboys are used to doing as well. Robson was pretty much the same. So yeah, look, I don't know. I've got Reed Money in the side at the moment. It does give you a bit of extra cash to go and strengthen a few other spots when you look across your 17.
All right, now I'm gonna. Thanks for that. That's pretty interesting there, because there is a fair bit of ownership out there on a Reed Money at the moment. 2 others are attracting a bit of interest, and I'm going to put one at you, Dan. So I'm going to probably cut you on the hop here. But who would you rather as your second hooker? Would you rather Bailey Hayward, or would you rather Simpkins from Manly? Both of them are getting the starting hooker role, it would appear, to start the year. What do you reckon?
Well, I literally just pulled up Bailey Hayward's stats before you guys even started that conversation about 5 seconds ago. So, if I was going to try and play it safe, I would more than likely go someone like Simpkins, because he's been in the NRL playing more minutes for a bit of a longer period of time. Hayward's been off the bench trying to earning his stripes for a while. But my gut's saying Hayward. It really is. I reckon, because they got Gordon Chan Kum Tong there as a backup over there.
Brad's mate. That's Brad's mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can see Bailey. Bailey's that workhorse. So, he's that workhorse, mate. He's cheap. I'm liking the price of him. I'm thinking I might actually look at having him as my backup at the moment, because I think it's one of those things where you go with your gut, and that's one of the things that I've always truly believed in, is going with your gut. And my head says go Simpkins, my gut saying go Hayward. So.
But do we actually think that he's a number 9? Because I know he's played a bit there, not a hell of a lot, but I think he's more of a lock, ball running lock than he is a hooker. So for me, I just don't see the numbers coming for points for him playing hooker. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but
I believe he's going to be more like what we just discussed, a Reece Robson type hooker.
Yeah.
He's going to be that defensive kind of workhorse. He's going to do that kind of stuff. Maybe even like we had last year, like a Donahue as well, and like the Max Platt style, who can kind of be versatile enough in there. And it goes the other way around. We had Ruben Cotter, who was a hooker for a while there, and he emerged into the lock position as well. But I think Hayward is that guy that's lock hooker that can, if you focus heavily on one position, he could do it.
Because who'd be their backup hooker at the Bulldogs?
They got Kurt Mann, don't they, on the bench? I'm pretty sure, don't they?
Yeah.
But he's not available hooker at the moment, so they have Gordon Chan Kong.
I'm just thinking in regards to what sort of minutes he'd play and stuff like that. I mean, he could go into lock, when Kurt Mann comes on. But then who knows? Because Kurt Mann also plays lock. You got Salmon that can play lock. They've got options there, so. Yeah,
I'm looking. I'd be happy with a 60, 65 minute game out of Hayward. Yeah. He's got some pretty decent PPM with the amount of work he puts in. So,
I do agree with you, Dan. He was someone that I did look at pretty extensively, especially at that price as well. He's priced at a 35 or whatever it is. I think he could do that in bloody 20 minutes. I reckon he could do that with his bloody eyes closed. But yeah, look, I actually do like that as an option. It is something that I'm using if I need to find some money somewhere. That's probably a position where I might save some money, because I think you can make some money out of those cheaper hookers nice and early if you get on the right ones. I think as far as Jamin Salmon goes and Kurt Mann, I think they're just bigger guys. And I don't know. I think they're more used to the Bulldogs as more mobile forwards rather than going through as playing hooker. So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if Hayward does get 60, 65 minutes plus, and maybe Canton comes on for something a little bit less.
I'm just going to throw one in there, probably a spanner in the works. I do urge you, those people that are going to go Hayward, and this is the reason that I'm not going to go him. Now, coming off the bench last year and in all those roles he did fulfill, he had a PPM of 0.64. That particularly for someone coming off the bench, which is usually they have high impact, high level of involvement for that shorter period of time, you'd be expecting a PPM around 1, if not a little bit better.
Because you're around the 1.2 mark, you'd expect, yeah, that's for sure.
So 0.64, man, that's so poor. Like that's really, really, that's a concern for me. So
what I found though, I agree 100%. The stats don't lie, but what I saw, I go very much off the eye test as well, and he had a lot of darting runs out there and created a bit of work that doesn't actually get scored in Supercoach, and I can see potential scores going his way in the future. But definitely something to look out for.
All right, Timmy, you've been getting a lot of comments. Darren Morton, g'day, Darren. He's commented in. He said he agrees with you. Somebody agrees with Timmy. Wow. And,
no, he's obviously not in there yet.
And Davey says that you love cheap hooker. Is there anybody else? I mean, there is a few other ones. We've got Crosland. Just don't do it. We look at him every year, and let's not do it.
I don't think there's much more, but I mean, we can't go through all of them because otherwise we'll be here for 2-3 hours. But
I don't think
I'm a big fan of Jake. I'm a big fan of Jake Simpkin. I really like him as an option this year. I think at that mid-range price, he should play 80 minutes. And I think I can't remember the numbers I saw, but in the numbers in the last few games when he played 80 minutes, he had like a 60 average or something. I think it might have been like it was decent, whatever it was, but.
Yeah, it was a 62 average there, Rossco, for the last 5 games.
Yeah.
And they were all 80-minute games, those last 5 games,
I just don't see – I mean, until we obviously see the benches for round 1, I just don't see anyone taking minutes off him. And I think at just under 500K or whatever his 460K, whatever the price is, he could make some serious cash, you know. And there could be a good upgrade to Brayley or someone else like that later on in the piece.
I started with Simpkin and Marnie, and that was the plan to kick on with the 400K guys. Only issue I had is when I went down to centre wing and just wanted a couple of upgrades, I needed the 150K that I could go between him and Brandon Smith, which is another one that we haven't talked about, and I kind of reckon that you have to.
Really?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
No, we do have to talk about him, I guess, and we'll keep it brief because he is the second most owned or the third most owned hooker, in the game at the moment. So his popularity is right up there. A lot of people jumping on. I'll let you guys all have your say after I'll just say one thing. You've got 3 hookers there at the club. I don't know how Brandon actually fits in with Peter Mamazoulis, and there's another one there that's going to take minutes as well. And then you've got an absolutely stacked second row. I just don't know how Smith is going to get any decent minutes out of that stacked second row and a hooker that has been performing well there already. If he gets any more than 30 minutes, I'll be surprised. I don't reckon he will. Anyway, who wants to weigh in on that one?
No, I'll keep mine brief. I'm with you, Brad, 100%. I can't agree with you more. I just can't go there. I just don't see a world where if he's only playing 25, 30 minutes where he makes enough cash, if at that price, if he's only going to be playing 25, 30 minutes, you may as well have enough up there that you can move around as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion. I'll just leave it at that.
Dan, anything on Brandon Smith? Have you had a look?
It's just smelling like Trap City. That's what it's smelling like to me. Everyone's jumping on board for a 235 guys, experienced bloody journeyman, I guess. People see his name and they see that and they think, oh, he's probably going to start, and everyone's excited about it. But like Mama Zulus was doing 80 minutes last year, wasn't he? At some point, so I just don't see it being. I think it's being a bit trappy.
I think we're forgetting the Wayne Bennett factor. We know what he can do. He's much like Bellyache. They take guys that used to be rock stars, started playing really crap in crap sides, or weren't getting the minutes, or whatever. They pick him up and they just breathe life back into these guys. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to be an 80-minute, 80-point rock star for the Bunnies. But, yeah, look, I don't know. I think when he's priced at a 23 or 24 or whatever it is, I think it's pretty hard to go wrong. I can see him getting, even if it's a 40-40 split or something like that, I think he's going to get the points. We all know what he can do. He does like a dart out of he probably likes a dart full stop, but he loves a dart out of dummy half, and that can be anywhere on the pitch. If he can get to half the player he was when he left Melbourne Storm, I can't see how you can go wrong.
The only thing I see an issue with Timmy, and this is a very common issue, is if you have him and he goes down or he's not scoring well, how do you upgrade? There's no one else in that price range you can really get to cover. So, and you have to, you take that, absorb that risk, and it's a tough one. But if he pulls off, then go for it.
Yeah, just having a really quick look at the Bunnies draw. Sorry, guys, before we go through, I'm just trying to scroll down on it. The Bunnies draw, so they go from the start. Dolphins, St. George, Sharks, Panthers, Roosters, North Queensland. So, look, you can...
Did I hear someone mention the draw?
We love it so much, we'll play it twice. So, yeah, look, I don't think that's a bad draw. I think for the Bunnies as well, that they haven't been a finals team for how long, and they certainly need to be back up there. So, look, I think Wayne's going to have them primed and ready to go.
Very, very good. Thank you for that, Tim. No, look, there are reasons to pick Smith, and who are we to say who is right or wrong? All we're giving out here is an opinion, and God knows who will
Timmy's
see
wrong.
come that first round. Now we're ready to move on to
I get that a lot.
forwards.
Yeah, let's roll. Let's go.
All right, let's. We're about to. Who has got the big boy? Who's going to tell us about him?
I had the pleasure of doing some research on this fella, so pretty much just start with him. Like, there's all these negative things when it comes to bringing in a gun at the start of the season because of how much he costs and the price and everything, and you want to try and get value. That's not the case in this situation. So Payne Haas, $8.52. Okay, he's worth every penny. So he averaged 87 points last year. If you're thinking that's going to come down in the next 5 rounds, yeah, that's not going to happen. So let's have a look at what he started with last year. Round 1, 104. Round 2, 99. Round 3, 140. So if he starts like he does, he normally starts the season with some power in his belly. He's going to come out and get that, and he's going to go up in price. So I think you just have to put him in your team and stick with it. So his first 2 games, against Panthers, Eels, then Melbourne, where he averages 83, 75, and a bit lower against Melbourne at 62. Base 65 points a game. This is probably the best, I think, out of all the prime rowers. And you look at his 60 points games, 87% of his games are above 60 points. That's huge. So I think you have to start with him. I can't think anyone that can talk me out of this one.
Set and forget for me. First one picked and stays in my team for the whole year.
Normally it's the bottom dollar cheapies that you pick first, but not this year. This year I picked him first up straight away.
He was my first pick. No hesitation with that. The price, it's a lot. And I know last season we started front rows that were reasonably priced because we could. And then me not starting Payne Haas, and I know a lot of us, I don't think, did in here. Certainly come back to bite on the backside, but just going off those numbers that I remember seeing from the start of last season, and they weren't 80-minute games either. They were about 60-minute games. Like, that's just crazy. It's just a lot. Set and forget. So it's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he's a captain option each and every week, it's just the big thing for him. So you're not really looking at the 80 points. You're looking at 160 points that he can get you.
Yeah.
No, 100% there. We've got quite a few joining us. G'day, Shauno. And Darren also, he comes into it. He said he'll take the risk and hope that AFB matches him. Ooh-dooly. All right, so I'll tell you
we may as well go to him next, shall we? Considering he's just been bought up, yeah?
That's a
good
AFB now. Segue, isn't it? Yep, where we go.
Priced at obviously a lot cheaper at 638K. He's got a base of 51, averaged 65 last season. Reasonable, really good PPM at 1.21. He only averaged about 54 minutes a game. And he benefits a bit from attacking stats to pick up his scores. He does get a lot of tries and stuff like that as well. But comparing apples and oranges, I mean, yes, he's 200K cheaper than Payne Haas, but my God, I think that's worth paying the extra 200K for Payne Haas just for that alone. What was his base, Dan, and his average from last season for Payne Haas compared?
Well, Payne Haas, he was at he was basing 65. That was just an approximation. He was getting some games. He was basing 78 points.
Yeah,
So
and he
it's
was
like,
averaging. He was averaging around 80, correct, or something, wasn't it? 87.
Yeah, 80-70. Yeah, 80-70
Yeah, so,
average.
yeah, it's a massive difference. 87 average to a 65 average. I can't see there's a world where AFB gets near him total points for Supercoach for this season in the front row.
Yeah, no, that's I suppose everything just keeps going back to him. Probably the closest to Payne Haas, well, the closest was Terrell May, but we'll get there in a minute.
Yeah.
But Joseph Tapine is the other one if people want to consider him. I don't, right? Only because he never seems to start that well. He seems to finish way stronger than he starts. He's notorious for this for super coaches.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong, fellas. Is that just normally what your gut tells you, that he starts slower than?
It's a Raiders thing, mate.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day when Josh Papalia was a gun we used to picking out to him every single year, and we'd always wait about 5-6 rounds before you picked him up. It's a Raiders thing. Tarpany's the same, so hold off. I reckon you can probably get him around 6 onwards, and you start picking up some minutes. Yeah.
I agree. Joey Taps and AFB, absolutely. They're guys that you're going to want in your side at some stage throughout the season, but they're not guys that I'll be starting with. You've got to keep a really close eye on their draw, and after they have a couple of good games, then by all means jump on. But like most of the guns, hit them when they're low, and then ride the wave.
Yeah, I'm happy to start with Payne Haas and the rest be mid ranges, and then hopefully those mid ranges make enough cash to bring in guys, say round 8, round 9, like Tarpany, AFB, guys like that. You're going to want at some stage, but yeah, I just think they're just a no for me for now to start.
I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. Just not really. I'm trying to talk myself out of it. I'm not going to do that. But you look at let's say we start with AFB instead of Payne Haas. And right now, I'll just be full advocate. I'll tell you now, I've got Payne Haas and Mooney as my 2 opening front rollers, right? And I think that's a pretty good start. If I was to go Payne Haas down to AFB and then Trey Mooney up to Koloamatangi, does that make up for the point difference, having that extra gun front rower there, do you think, or not?
Yeah. Yeah, look, I so as in having to split the cash a little bit.
Yeah, so drop Payne Haas down to Koloamatangi and AFB, and instead of having Haas and Mooney, have AFB and Koloamatangi or May, for example. May's pretty expensive as well, though, so you can't get.
I think the thing with Payne Haas is though, unless he gets injured, he's set and forget. Like you why stuff around with it if it's the guy that you're going to want for 24 of the 27 weeks of the competition. I mean, he'll miss a couple with Origin here and there and whatever, but basically that's the general gist of it. It's the guy that you do not have to think about. You stick him up there. He's, like I said before, he's a captain option every week, so you're not just looking at the 80, you're looking at 160 that you can pretty much bank week in, week out and play your halfbacks or play your outside backs off him, especially now at the flex position. It obviously gives you so much more opportunity with your captaincy. So you can have like a Nathan Cleary as a VC, and if he doesn't get the points that you want, then you just whack your captaincy on Payne Haas and drop a guy out and go from there. So look, I think it's a no-brainer. I understand you're absolutely a different strategy by going to 700 guys instead of an 800 and a 600. But yeah, look, is what it is.
All right, Rossco's dropped out. Now, Sean has just dropped a question. Is anyone having Tino in front row forward or in second row forward like me?
I think his app's broken, is it?
I was about to say that Tino is not available in the front row anyway.
Yeah.
He's only available in second row, Sean. So if you do want him, you can only have him in second row. I'm assuming they're going to correct that come around 6, I think, is the first update of positional changes. So, but you would think that, this is an obvious one. He's starting lock. He's going to go into the middle rotation. He'll be in. They are so bereft from front row forwards now that now that Jamin Jolliffe has gone down, that they're going to be throwing all sorts of people. They're going to be throwing all sorts of people in there to tighten. So, yeah, we will see a change. Supercoach will be doing some changes there. All right, now, Timmy, what do you know about Carrigan? Carrigan one for you to consider?
I think Dan had Carrigan.
Sure
I
did.
did originally, and then
Oh,
he
Dan,
scored him.
Dan, you want to tell us a bit about Carrigan? Because
I could tell you plenty about him. He looks pretty. He's got a lovely pony. It's probably not the information that everybody wants, but yeah.
I don't want to know the information you get by looking through binoculars through his window, mate. Bloody hell. All right, let's have a quick look. So, got some stats here. So, Carrigan at $636K, $900 there. So, average 65.1 points last year. Base of 55 points, which is pretty intense. Pretty good base there for a guy that's the amount of work he puts out is pretty good. So, yeah, same as Payne Haas with the opening draw, Penrith, Eels, and Melbourne. The average is pretty good against Penrith. The average is around the 70 mark. The average is 60 against Eels, and the average is 50 points against Melbourne there. So he was below 50 points 4 times last year, and his lowest score was 44. So that's if you're looking for someone that's going to be consistently getting you points every single week. And he's never going to hurt you. That's a pretty good score there. So.
Yep.
So I'm just getting all these gang signs over here. I'm not sure what's going on, and you guys are talking about me behind my back. So
no. No, somebody says that I'm not in the gang because I don't have my hat on backwards. You see, so,
and now he's gone again.
But
we will say as well, one thing I did notice with Carrigan as well, leading up to Origin, he 5 games in a row leading up to Origin over 70. So if you want to try and do a sneaky pickup at the right time. Just before Origin, he seems to just get pumped. He's a pure. I don't like me that much either, but he's a pure Queenslander through and through. He gets pumped. Something goes through his blood, and he just gets all hyped up. It's 5 games, 70 plus in a row before Origin. So, bit of insight there.
Yeah, look, I actually really like him. I had him in my team and only changed out today, switching to Toby Couchman, which I believe I'll be talking about very shortly. But yeah, look, I actually really like Paddy. Going with Paddy and Payne up front, double punch from the Broncos. I think the Broncos will continue on from where they left off, and you don't get too many better forwards than the combination between those two. They do sometimes share the minutes. You might find one comes off and the other one gets an extra 5, but yeah, it does switch around a little bit, but absolutely, mate, come Origin time or just before Origin time, he absolutely goes to another level.
When's the Broncos' first bye?
I can't actually tell you, but give me 10 seconds.
I'll get it up now. I got it up here. So
I've got it here too. Yeah,
round 12. So
that's decent. So that's like Origin time then. Yeah. Just apologies. I don't know what's happening with my internet, but I'm getting kicked out every now and then. So I do apologise if I come and go like a yo-yo. So yeah.
A bit of peace and quiet every now and then when you leave. So.
Who was your front row there, Ross? Who have you got?
Mine. I had a couple of other ones. I don't know if we want to keep the time down, so maybe I'll just go through one of them. Jesse Colaquin. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. 332K, base of 33, average of 34. He's got a PPM, decent PPM, 1.17. Should start lock with the injury to Cam McInnes as well. Almost 98% of his points come from base, so I can see a decent increase of his 32-minute average, 32-minute that he played last season. And they've got their first bye in round 7, but I think pretty much he's going to be pretty much a lock in everyone's team at that price, especially with the injury to Cam McInnes as well. I can see, maybe going from that 32 minutes to see playing to like a 55 minutes, somewhere around about that mark. So I'm all for him, and I think there's some decent coin to be made there with him as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's a decent PPM, isn't it? That's what you want to see off a bench forward, which is the role he had last year. Instead of the 0.6 that Hayward had, you'd much rather be happier with a 1.1 to 1.2 like Jesse Colquhoun's got. That fills me with a lot of I think he's nearly one as close to a must-have as what we can see in Supercoach this year. Yeah. Any thoughts on that, Dan?
No, well, I just I didn't do much research on Colaquin before this, so I just after hearing that, I'm realising I just chucked him in as my backup second rower because I got a few second rowers that I'm moving around at the moment. So, and I think not sure if he mentioned, but yeah, he's a dual front row.
Yeah, I didn't mention that actually.
Yeah,
I was just going to say
really
that's the other vital thing too. He's got the dual position, so
When you said he was lock, I was like, oh, I could squeeze him in. I got a spot there on the field, so that's perfect. Yeah, and I just saved 100k as well, so which is good.
Timmy, who else have you got?
Look, I got two guys. One is Max King, very meat and potatoes, priced at 583. He's front row forward only, so his BE's about 60. Their draw going in is St George. They've got a buy in round 2, which is what really hurts it for me, and why I can't go there. So St George, they've got the buy. They go
Timmy,
Raiders.
Did you just mention the draw?
Let's not go there again.
Did you just?
Oh no!
Rub on your liniment
it's the
and
wrong
drink your
one.
pickle juice because it's time for the.
Oh no!
That's the wrong one.
Maybe we should do a little skit. We should do a little skit where
It's
you make a
now
mistake.
time for.
Where is he? Where is he? I've gone the wrong clip about 3 times in a row.
Here we go.
Did I hear someone mention the draw?
I am so going to find myself a red and white striped shirt and a red and white striped beanie. If there's any Dragons fans out there, chances are you probably don't want any of your Dragons gear anymore. But yeah, send it through. Where's Wally costume? Why not? Yeah, but look, Max King, very meat and potatoes. Like I said, I'm not a massive fan. He had a really good Supercoach season a couple of years ago. When he sort of first burst on the scene, but has been a bit quiet since. The one I'm really keen on, go through these numbers, boys, and you tell me who you reckon. An 82, a 63, 60, 69, 69, 91, 74. They were consecutive games for the last 7 rounds. Toby Couchman, priced at 583, I think, from memory. So he's basically priced at a 59 average or something like that. Actually averaged 73 for the last 7 rounds of the season. So look, he's the guy.
Oh, now he's gone. What's going on with this internet?
He gives us all this good insight and then leaves us before he gives us the full answer. That's not nice of him.
Dear, I don't know what he's done there.
Well, I just quickly touch on Toby Couchman. I actually owned him last season before he had that injury to his shoulder, and I was pretty happy with the numbers he put out, playing 80 minutes as well. But another one that's very handy is his dual position, front row and second row too. And there is a lot to like there about him. Obviously, the injuries is the main concern for him, because between him and his brother, they just have not had much luck in regards to injuries. I probably will own him at some point of the season, but I'm really concerned about him coming back from such a major shoulder injury that I don't know if I can start him. But I can see a world where you do. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But it's just after seeing that happen last season, and it was at the back end, and I ran out of trades and I couldn't get rid of him. I've got to be a bit more cautious this time around, so to speak. But there is a lot to like there with him for sure.
Yeah. I think with the draw that they've got kicking off, like I said, so they got Dogs, Storm, Parrot, Titans, Cows, and Manly. I think that a bit of a mixed bag with forward packs that they're up against, but I think just his versatility and the holes that he runs and things like that, I think he's going to be a really good player for them. And like I said, he's priced at a 59 and averaged 72 for the last third of last season. So look, I'm on him, and I think the versatility of being able to flick him as a Supercoach player between him and probably Hopgood or somebody like that in your second row is going to be really helpful.
And just on that, you said before that draw will be up and down a little bit. So I'm looking at the draw, specifically the front rowers for them. So if you wanted to jump on him straight away, you could, but you could hold off and then get him in round 3 when he goes against Parramatta. And then he has Gold Coast and North Queensland, who leak a lot of points for front rowers. So you're going to get him in. You wait 2 weeks to see how he goes with injury, get him in, get that pay rise, and then grab him for that great run. So,
yep, good option.
If he can start off with a bang this season, he could be a smoky for Origin too, I reckon. Just quite
absolutely. I got no doubt. If he can get through pre-season
yeah.
and start the season pretty well, get him through to round 10 or 12, mate, I reckon he's a safe bet.
Yeah. Just going back, I'll throw one question at you about Max King. They've invested some pretty big money in Leo Thompson going there. To Canterbury. What do you reckon, Tim? How much impact is that gonna have on Max having to shoulder the whole entire team himself? I mean, Leo Thompson, he's only 542k, base of 48, which is rather decent, PPM of 1. You know, if he gets some minutes uptick, I'll tell you what, he surely would be eating into Max's time, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, look, I think so. And I think they've got a lot of forwards to spread around as well. I was actually quite surprised that they went for him, Leo Thompson. But I guess if someone comes on the market, he's the right age at the right time, why not? But yeah, look, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one to see how they spread all those minutes across some of those big minute forwards that they've got down there at the Doggies.
Well, you'd think they'd be the two starting props, right? So I don't know if it'll affect
so.
anyone's, each other's minutes, so to speak. They'll be the two guys that'll play 55, give so minutes, and then you've got your Sam Hughes and your other guys like that that'll come on and play the middle as well. But I still think Leo Thompson's an interesting watch, as you said, Brad, with that base. I think, he moves to a better club. No, nothing against Newcastle, but I think he can improve on that this season, to be honest with you there. And he could be one that we might own, even though he's never really been Supercoach relevant, but definitely one to keep an eye on.
Well, he's young, and like I said, in a new club, there's not a lot to. The only problem is you got one meat and potatoes, 60-minute front row there already. I just don't know how many minutes they jump in. They eat off everybody. G'day, Brod, by the way. Brod is jumping in there. Don't forget, people, if you're interested in going in cashies, go check out the Tragics Facebook group and the page over there. Brod is the administrator that runs all the cashies. He pays out every single year, unlike a lot of other ones. And I think a lot of people have been stung at one point in time by dubious people. This protects you against that sort of thing. So do see what Brod has on offer as far as the cashies.
Yeah, I will say as well. So the reason why Brod started this group with a few other guys was he was one of the guys that got stung. So he was sick of it happening. So he decided to make sure he wanted to get it. So it was sorted for everyone. So
yeah.
He told me he was going to wipe my backside in BBL Supercoach, and how did that work out for you, Brod? So just quietly, and I don't want to hear excuses either, mate, because I don't want to hear it. So yeah. Anyway. Yes.
Anyway, I hope you're not melting out there in your land of the heat at the moment, Brod, because I know you are doing it tough out in the west where you live at the moment. So
I just got back from there, mate. It was a bloody, and it got worse when I left. So it was bloody just warm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I do feel for everybody experiencing that heat wave. It's pretty bloody hot where I am at the moment tonight. I've got the fan going 1,000 miles an hour here in the studio, but now as to Leo Thompson, Sean says surely Thompson comes in and tries to prove his worth, and lips for the Doggies might even have to see in the first 3 rounds. Yes, he is certainly one to put in your black book. Have him as
Brad's gone.
Is Leo. All right, Rossco, who was your other one, mate?
My other one was Mitch Barnett, but just to keep the time down, because I think there's a couple of guys I'd rather speak about first rather than Mitch Barnett. Does anyone have Trey Mooney? Because I think he's a big one that we need to speak about.
Look, I don't have him, but he's certainly one for your little black book. 442k. He's in that awkward price. Last year he had a base of 36 with an average of 57. So that's nearly 20 points of creativity he has. So that means he's got a few offloads in him, does this fella? A few tackle busts and offloads. That's what he looks like to me. Because 20 points in above the base is to be scoring another 20 points on top. Yeah, you're getting a bit. And probably, Rossco, you're going to say that, but a PPM of 1.47, probably the highest PPM of any of our prospective front runners on our list.
Yeah, it's crazy. And there's minutes there with Thompson gone. I can easily. What was he averaging last year for minutes? How many? Did we know?
How many minutes?
Either way,
I don't have that immediate, man. But
Either way, I think I can see him getting about 50, 55 minutes for sure, and he'll make some cash. It is an awkward price, yes, it is. Don't get me wrong, but I just think that he's a great pairing to go with Payne Haas for me. I think he's probably the best of the mid-range options out of what we're talking about. Colohan's a great option. Paseka, who we haven't spoken about, another one, but I just think that Trey Mooney
Yeah.
He's going to have to be
I
the
think
Leo
if he gets the
Thompson.
minutes, he could end up being a keeper.
Yeah.
He could end up being a keeper.
I'm
honestly.
seeing
I really
glimpses
see
of
it.
like a Taylor Maves at the beginning if you start, because he's got that
Yeah.
PPM. They're going to rely on him so heavily because they've got no real strength and experience in that forward pack. With Leo Thompson gone,
Yeah.
he's going to be the main man there. Having someone like him with
Mhm.
his skills as the main man, I can see him be. I feel like I could keep him. That's why I'm confident having him and Payne Haas as my two starters, because I feel so confident with that.
Yeah. As I said, they're my two starting front rowers at the moment, and I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest with you. And it allows me to stack other positions like my hooker position, my centre wing, because I've stuck, which we'll talk about another time, obviously, but stuck that too. So, yeah.
I think one thing, I'll play a bit of devil's advocate in this. The bad bit about Trey Mooney, he only played about 6 games or 8 games last year. It's been between, it could have been 7 games. So it's a fairly small sample size I'm giving you, but I can rest assured the sample size the year before was just as good. And before that, he was a junior. So this guy is very young, and he's also been very injury prone, as some of these youngsters who have a glittering junior career, they get to just entering NRL level and they have a run of injury problems. And he's had a few injury problems over these couple of years there in Canberra coming out of juniors. So that's the devil advocate side of it. There is an injury concern to me if you overwork him, because he is young. He's bloody young. So, you know, does that scare anybody, what I've just said there, or food for thought?
If I was going to be scared of injuries, mate, I wouldn't be playing Supercoach, because that happens every step. So, if you get scared of what could be and what could have been, like, it's no point.
Yeah.
Well, another one that we'll drop on now. Rossco mentioned his name before. Tanela Paseka, 328k, a base of 41, average of 45. So basically, minutes that he gets out there, if he goes out and does 50 minutes, he'll score 50 points. He's virtually got no creativity or offloads in him. So he's got a few tackle busts, and that's about it. But he is a very, very big unit. I've seen pictures of him this year. I mean, we get to see this every year with certain players. Man, he looks fit. 2 years ago, he was the heaviest man in the NRL. I'm not sure whether he is still. But at 328k, he's about 200k nearly undervalued there. Anybody interested?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just think, like, they've lost some front rowers too, and I think there's minutes there for him as well, whether he starts or if he comes off the bench. I probably wouldn't go. I don't know if I'd go if he comes off the bench, because I don't really see much value in there of starting him at 328k if he's only going to play 30 minutes. But if he's starting the front row, which he probably should be, I think then he's definitely a really good buy.
Oh, I knew Joey couldn't see. He said, too bad he plays at Manly.
Joey must be in a good mood tonight. He's sharing it all around.
Any thoughts on him as a cheapie, Timmy?
Yeah, look, I could absolutely see why you go there. And like we said, Manly's forward stocks are certainly not what they used to be. So, look, if he can get the minutes and stay on the park, I don't think you're going to go backwards. I do, like you said, though, Brad. He's not a bloke that's going to pump out 80 minutes and 80 points a week. But I think you could probably safely say he'll be a 40 to 55 kind of guy. And yeah, that's about what you're going to get. So, as one of the other podcasts says, it's what's written on the tin, and that's pretty much what Paseka is going to be.
Who else did I have for you, Dan? Did you have any other front rower there?
Well, it's good timing, actually, because we're talking about a guy around that price range. I had Flegler, who's coming back from an injury as well, who I think is a very good option as well. So very similar downside to what we just spoke about with Paseka coming back from injury and stuff. Probably get eased back in. But 346k for him. There's the small sample size of the Dolphins. He only had the 4 games before he was injured, unfortunately. So, yeah, averaged 59 points across 53 minutes a game, which is pretty good. But if you take away the injury-affected game, he averaged 69 points. So his first game was 70 points. Pretty good PPM at 1.25. Yeah, if let's say, for example, they ease him back in, like we think he probably will be, probably starts on the bench. But I reckon he's like the main guy there kind of thing. So if he does get eased back in and he starts, he's his body's feeling good, he takes over the main spot, go back to 55 minutes a game, he can get you 70 points a game. So someone to keep an eye on there as well.
Somebody did mention Gilbert earlier. How far away is Gilbert from returning? Will he be back round one? Do you know, Rossco?
I don't know anything. I didn't know Gilbert was actually injured. I know they've got a few injuries with JMK, Jack Bostock. I think Kurt Donahue could be out early in the piece too, but I'm not sure about Tom Gilbert. But the biggest one for me is I think he's one of those players that I don't know if I can start with, just because if he's coming back from some major injuries, like talking really major, and the bloke hasn't played footy for over 600 days. So for me, it's a risk. I don't know if I'm going to start him. He's in my team at the moment, but I'm not sure. I really don't know. And I don't think we're going to get the true indication in the trials of what we're going to get from him either, to be honest with you either. So, yeah,
looking likely to round one start just quietly.
Yeah.
For Gilbert, so shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Now, this is for both for Dan and for Joey. Those that don't know, Joey has been commenting like mad. He's from the Ruck Infringement. Joey, if in the comments you throw your overall league code, mate. And Dan, you give your overall league code a plug too, mate. When you're
if I had the overall league plug with me, I'd be ready to go. But I haven't even got it with me. You got to jump on the Facebook page. And, that's a bit unprofessional of me, but I didn't create the league, so that's all on the page. Jump on the Supercoach Tragics page.
All right, Shauno says Gilbert's supposed to be close
to round one. Yeah,
supposed to be clear for round one. Not sure if it's off the bench. So he had a shocking year with injury last year. It's another one of those bad injuries that impacted the Dolphins. So I think it was an ACL there, Rossco. That's why he didn't play most of the year.
I think he's played about 5 or 6 games in about 3 seasons. So the poor bugger just needs to get back out there. It would be a tough gig. He was, I think, captain of the Cowboys when he left, or close to it, certainly in the leadership group. And then he was named captain of the Dolphins and got injured straight off the bat. So, yeah. So, look, a tough one for him. Joey's just piped in. The Ruck Infringement Podcast. Their overall league code is 693809. 693809. Big shout out to Joey. He always looks after us. He's on the show all the time, gives plenty of cheek and grief. But look, a bit of a milestone for him this week. He actually had a children's book published, which is a pretty mean feat. So I believe it's Ezra the Emu, but he's written it for essentially his young bloke, who's a young fella. He's 4 or 5 years old, and look, it's actually based on footy. And
trying to give Ezra a good name. It's good.
What is this?
Joey loves to give me plenty of stick about the Broncos, but there's obviously some love in there from him for Ezra Mam somewhere. So call it inspiration, call it what you will. But no, he actually is. He's just had his book published. So, yep. Joey, by all means, jump on and, mate, give it a bit of a plug. And, let us know where we can buy the book from. I've read it. It looks awesome. Really colourful pictures for the kids. And, it's great. Colourful pictures.
I believe you can purchase it through Amazon.
Absolutely. Yeah, hats off to you, Joey. Well done.
All right. No, hats off to you, Joey. I also saw you break open the packaging of the children's book on Facebook, and mate, it was glad to see the smile on your face. It was fantastic to see, and anybody who puts their heart into something like that, gives it a crack, and it comes off. Good on you, man. That's fantastic. All right, so back to our front rowers. Now, a couple of interesting ones we haven't really picked on yet. Jermaine Hopgood is in the top 10 of the most owned front row forwards. I don't actually really know what to say about him. I mean, a very bad year for him last year, a base of 47, only averaged 53 above that. And he averaged 53 in minutes. So obviously has a PPM of 1. Why do people think that he is such a buy, folks? Does anybody want to give me
I can give you an answer. I can give you an answer, mate. All right. So I haven't got him, and I'm always a bit doubtful about it as well. But they did have an experiment where they were playing him through the lock position at the start of the year where he wasn't getting the minutes and everything was changed up, mixed up. Everything was they were experimenting with his position. And then towards the end of the season, they threw him in the prop rotation, and he comes out and goes, let's have a look at his scores at the end of the season. 104, 82, 78, 76, 105, 124, 67. So there's a reason why people are jumping on, because he's underpriced. If he stays in that same position where it seems to work, might just turn you over a little bit to stay away from the Hopgood hating, because I was on that same page as well. I was hating on that position as well, but looks like there's a good reason for it.
I'm off him. And the sort of things I hate to see, but Jack DeBellin going there and going into the middle rotation, we will chew through 60 minutes, has surely got to impact upon somebody like Hopgood. Hopgood is great as an 80-minute player, but if they ain't going to give him 80 minutes, then I'm not going anywhere close to him either. Anybody else have a thought on that?
Well, I did have him in my team until I forgot that they'd bought Jack DeBellin. There was a lot, obviously his average was down from last season because, bloody Rolls was playing with Hooker and wherever else he was just not suited to play. And then he came out and banged a 70 average over the last 5 games. And I looked at his price, I'm like, he's underpriced, and then completely forgot about Jack DeBellin coming. And I just don't see a world where he starts. I think, what are you going to have DeBellin play lock, and then you're going to have Jack Williams starting at front row, and you're going to have Junior Paulo starting front row, most likely. So I don't see the minutes there for Hopgood. I can probably see a world where he gets, I'll say about 40 minutes. That'll be my guess, roughly, give or take. So
I don't see that happening. I think Jack DeBellin loses minutes. I think he's getting on, and they brought him over there, but I don't think he gets the minutes. He's probably there to help with the experience. So those scores, I read the wrong scores, but it was 70, 62, 69.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
But let's have a look at the minutes in those last few games. It was 65, 55, 62, 180-minute game and a 72-minute game. So it wasn't the full 80-minute games he was playing that. It was just the high impact through the middle. So I can see. And Jack Williams is also, he's a prop, but I think he's more of a lock, or he can potentially play on the edge as well. Jack Williams is that kind of workhorse there. So, and Jack Williams, frankly, he's earned his spot. I reckon he's definitely kept it there. But I think it's going to be Jack DeBellin that misses out on some minutes there.
I'm happy just to sit
I
off him for now and see how he goes. And if he proves me wrong, then I'm more than happy to jump on him.
Sit back and watch him for a bit. Yeah,
I agree with you, Dan. I've got Hopgood in my second row at the moment, and I think, like I said before, the versatility of being able to flick him back and forwards with Toby Couchman and things like that is going to be really helpful. So those last few, from when he went 67, 57, 47, 73, 62, 69, 74, 75. So like we said, he's priced at a, what the hell was he? Priced at a 51 average for a guy that pretty much averaged 70 for the run home from round 20 onwards or close to it. So, or 65 or something like that. So, yeah, look, I've got him there. If he starts the season anything like he finished last season, he's absolutely going to make you money, and he could make it really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good thoughts there. Now, one interesting one, which is in Supercoach circles, there's been virtually no talk about whatsoever. Stefano, Big Steph down in Melbourne. There's been a lot of changes in Melbourne down in the front row down there. He's also been joined by, of course, one Jack Hetherington. So, God, could you possibly get on Jack Hetherington after he's now at his billionth club? And is any love for Stefano at Melbourne as well? 515K price, pretty good.
It's pretty much you're going to get 12. You're getting that guy who's going to give you the minutes. He's going to give you plays 50, scores 50 points. Yeah. Nothing special about him, but he's just solid as a rock. So if you want to get that boring kind of score, then go for it. But I'm looking for those high-end scores.
I did own him for part of last season. There's just no upside there for me with him. I don't really want to be forking out that sort of money for someone who's only going to play 50 minutes and get 50 points. There's no attacking stats in him, no nothing. So it's a no for me. But, look, I don't know.
Did Nelson Did Nelson end up moving on at the end of last season? I know there was a lot of talk about it, and he was going to go to rugby, he was going to box, he was going to do a million different things. But is he still actually down at the Storm?
No, he's gone, I think.
He's gone, mate.
No.
He had a boxing match the other day against Jerry
Yeah,
Lattimore or something. I think it was,
he-
wasn't
It wasn't a boxing match. The Lattimore just got thrown in there to be a
You want
punching
to call-
bag.
whatever you
Bloody
want to
hell.
call it.
It didn't even last 30 seconds, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Asafa just absolutely crewed the fella in the ring, and it was over within 30 seconds. But no, he's now a boxer.
Yeah, to be fair, Lattimore had to get his lift back from the Kirsty bars to get back to the home as well. So,
Jade's care bus was coming.
All right, so let me think. Maybe you have to think about this one, Tim, because it's up in your neck of the woods, up in Queensland. But North Queensland have had massive changes to their front row stocks. They're even thinking all the projected teams I see coming out have Tomalolo coming out and starting at prop. Well, God, that's only going to last you 15 minutes if you're lucky. Cohen Hess is your other prop. I've never seen a club with so decimated as in middle rotation and prop forwards. Cohen Hess is going to have to do a lot of work at only 400,000. Would he be a nice plug and play at 400k? Because he's going to easily get those. Easily going to get 400.
Oh, you would think so, mate. He'll make some money, but it's yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on what your strategy is. If you're going a bit lighter on, maybe you've got Payne Haas and then going for a 400k option up there. Or if you've got a bit of extra cash and want somebody who probably should make some money off the bench, as in off your own bench. But look, I'd much rather prefer guys like Tommy Flegler at under 350 than a Cohen Hess at 400. I think Tommy's got the upside as long as he can stay on the park and stay fit. He's a warm body that I've got in there at the moment as my third front rower.
Yeah, I'd take Paseka, Colquhoun, and also Flegler over him. I think it's just a very awkward price without knowing what sort of minutes he's going to get. He's just meat and potatoes as well. Even if he does get 40, 50 minutes, he's not going to plug out a decent score anyway. So I'd rather those guys who've got the good PPM, more upside, and more chance of making more money. So he's a pass for me.
He's not the 60 to 80 minute second rower that he was about 5 or 6 years ago, busting down the door trying to get to Origin. So he's a very different player now than what he used to be. Whether or not that's his doing or whether that's what Todd Payton's had to turn him into, because Tormalolo's kind of fallen off a cliff the last 4 or 5 years. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be giving him a wide berth myself.
Here's one for you, Dan. This might get you reaching for your stats book there, but they just mentioned like all those ones around about that price point, at 400 to 300 odd thousand, the Pasekas, et cetera. One name I'll throw at you. That's a very interesting name, Curtis Moran from the Bulldogs, who now finds himself probably starting at the Titans, because the Titans have now lost Jamin Jolliffe for the entire year with an ACL injury, I do believe it was. Mm-hmm. They're looking very shy now as far as what prop forwards go. Curtis Moran, any thoughts on him?
I always love watching Moran play. I had him in my team a few times at the start of the year, but then I've seen a lot of projected teams coming out, looking around at a few of those teams, and it looks like they have him starting on the bench with Tino in the front row and moving Randall into the lock position, which I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that one. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if that's actually what they do. I think that's Tino will end up in the front row. He's going to have to if they lose. Certainly, if they lose anyone else, he's going to be there. I mean, he pretty much plays in the front row anyway. Just wears number 13 on the back, and he's certainly the leader and the front row forward in the team.
Yeah, Dan, what was that one?
Yeah, I think Moran will be a great little. He'll make money even from the bench, because he'll get more minutes than what he was getting at the Doggies, and he deserves more minutes. He's definitely that workhorse that'll run. He's like a little bitty pit bull running around. I reckon he'll get some points for you. If he was to start, he'd be in my team 100%. But I just can't see it happening because they're going to have him. They're going to have probably potentially that Cooper Bye as well on the bench as well. They've got some young people and some inexperience coming into that team at the moment. So you think someone like Curtis Moran, who's been a bit of a journeyman around, been around for a while on that bench, he'd be getting pretty utilised.
And they've also got that other bloke too. What's his name? Pala, someone too. What's his name? There's another one that they've got as well. Palius. He's another cheap. He's about 280k. I can't remember his name.
Patson. Yeah. I've got him in my team at the moment.
Yeah,
so
that's,
Paxton.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Another one that's extremely highly owned. I think he's actually in the top 10. Miles Martin from Canberra. Look, this guy was a very good junior. We haven't seen much of him as a front row yet, but apparently, he's been training the house down, and that's all people are really basing their selection of him on. Yes, he is 201,000. I think it's a good stay away from myself, but any thoughts on him, folks? As to why
the Martin brothers, mate, from Canberra. There's a few of them around. The Martin brothers always play train the house down. They're mad dogs, mate. They work. You've seen the other Martin go through in the NRL last year. These guys they're just mad dogs. They'll train all year and they'll be hard boys. So you're always going to have that training the house down with these boys. The brothers are bloody pretty good. So I would stay away from him for sure. But having a few players like Trey Mooney out, there's less competition for him, I guess. So there's more chance he can get a run. But that's about it.
It's no for me. It's no for me. I don't see the minutes.
All right. Is there anybody in the front rows that we haven't really discussed yet?
Oh, there could be, but I think we should probably close to wrapping it up now. It's been an hour and 15 minutes, so a little bit over we were hoping to go. So, I think you, Brad, you've got your articles that you've put out. You'll do a bit of a deep dive like you've done with the hookers and the front rowers. So keep an eye on that. Yep. I think you posted your hooker one already. Just got to post the front row one. And obviously the next pod will be on second rowers. So we're just going to do second row only because there's a lot to dissect through that position. And we may even look at doing that Sunday night this week because I'm in Melbourne for pretty much all of next week with work. So we may jump back on Sunday, providing everyone's available, and do one then and get through the second rowers.
Terrell May was the other. There's actually two that we didn't have covered. Yeah. Terrell May, but they have the bye first. So I guess you can always jump on him round 4 or 5. If you really think that the Tigers are going to come out and blitz it and they're going gangbusters. KK, the old KK, Kalamatangi, the other one. But like we've discussed, the forward rotation at South is just, it looks insane with their riches they've got at the moment. So very hard to gauge who's going to get minutes or where they're going to get the minutes from.
And also too, with him leaving at the end of the season, like I know that they're going to want to improve and do better this year. Do they start increasing? Does he start losing minutes? I don't know. He's their best forward they've got, but they've also got Fafita. They've also got Cam Murray. So they're loaded. They're absolutely loaded. So, yeah.
The only other one I will bring up is if you're looking for a cheapie to fill probably your 4th front row forward spot. If he's fit and firing, I'd be all over Ben Takura, Big Ben at the Broncos. The guy's a man mountain. He's Payne Haas 2.0. He's a young fella. He's only 19, 20, whatever he is, but the dude is huge, and he is absolutely the next big thing if he can stay fit. He started last season an injury, missed most of the season then. But yeah, absolutely priced at 235k, bottom dollar or thereabouts. If he gets on the park and can get 30 or 40 minutes, this bloke can do anything.
He was in my team last year. I know there was a lot of hype on him, and he just didn't get the minutes, and then he got injured, and that was that, and he got stuck in my team all year. But yeah, I think if there's an injury to one of their props,
they've lost Kobe Hetherington. They let some of the other fringe forwards go. So look, I think if he's fit, he's absolutely a lock-in.
But he needs 40 plus minutes to be relevant for me. Otherwise, at 230k, if he's only playing 30 minutes, he's just not going to make the money to do anything with.
Yeah, I don't know. The guy can attack.
I know he can.
He really wants to have him in his team, Ross.
You stay away from him.
Whoever says something negative about it, he gets upset.
So I'm quite happy for you to stay off him.
On the Broncos.
Yeah, it's just like he's got the love affair with cheese as well. But anyway,
all right.
Winners are grinners, boys. Winners are grinners.
We'll wrap it up on that note. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate it. A big thank you to Dan from Supercoach Tragic. Your pod's about to start up, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, probably get a bit closer towards the start of the season. I think there's a lot of preseason pods out there. We don't want to add to that kind of confusion, so we're just going to jump on straight in. So.
Yep. No, look forward to it. Anybody wants those cashies, as we said earlier, go over onto the Tragic page. Rod's details are all there, and the details of all the different cashies. So do get into it. Anything else said tonight, Ross?
Just don't forget, we've got the overall league, as you can see on the screen. We've also got the tipping comp, which we've got a prize for Supercoach rings. The overall code for the tipping comp is 171995, and that is being run through the Supercoach app. Also, to our seeded leagues, we have about 5 spots left, if that. So if you are interested and you haven't put your team name in your ranking from last season, get on the page and put it in, because I think it'll be pretty much full by tomorrow. So thank you to everyone who's entered. We've got 8 leagues running from all the admin guys and 20-man leagues. And, yeah, I'll start sorting them out over the weekend, and everyone will be tagged in and given codes. I'm not going to send it to you individually. It'll just be the seeded 1, seeded 2 codes. Just make sure you jump in the correct one, because we will go through and check them. And if you jump in the wrong one, you will be booted, so to speak.
All right, Timmy, anything else other than the draw?
No, boys, it's great to be back, isn't it? It's great to be talking footy again. And look, it's just good to be here. And like I said, winners are grinners. It's great to wear the Premier shirt. It's been a long drought for the Broncos. Not as long as Eels fans, though. Or Tigers, probably.
At least you've got one on the VCR, because Parramatta don't.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, good night, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be probably early next week, Tuesday or something. Or always
Sunday, hopefully.
Sunday night. All right.
Yeah, because as I said, I'll be in Melbourne next week. So, yeah.
All righty. We'll see you then. Till then, thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Have fun super coaching.